Hello, passengers, and welcome to the Midnight Train, America's second favorite podcast, where we bring the dark to light, where history never dies, and where listener discretion, it's always advised. We make fun of and joke about the creepy and unsolved mysteries of the world, all while bringing you as much information on each topic as we can possibly do in the time allowed, and having lives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Once we have a team behind us and we're able to pay them, can you imagine?
Wait, isn't there a me in team? So therefore, we are the team.
No, there's a me and meat pie.
Oh, there is an I in team. It's in the ass. It's in the a-hole.
Oh, you said it. You said it. So listen, if you're new here, we are a comedy podcast, all right? And, at least we try to be. We try to make we try to bring a little bit of irreverence to dark topics.
That was a big word.
Right? Well, thank you.
Irreverence.
Irreverence, do you like that?
You can be my irreverence.
Yes. And like I said, things can get dark, so if you're not into, making not light, again, I don't want to say light of, I guess bringing some levity to some dark topics, then listen, we get it, no problem. You can go ahead and check something else out. But if you are and you think, hey, I can hang with these guys, then guess what? There you, Huckleberry. All right. That's been like 2 references already. Like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's only 45 seconds in?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Well, a minute 29. Anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
So anyway, give us a chance. And guess what? For everyone else out there that listens on a weekly basis, man, welcome back. It's good to be in your ear holes right now. I'm here. I'm going to tickle it. Does that tickle?
It's tickling my beard.
Anyway, seriously, though, thank you so much for coming back, returning, and listening to the show. I am your host, the conductor of the Cryptic, Jonathan Sayer. And, of course, with me is the one and only...
the blonde compatriot.
The blonde son of mine. It's Logan Sayer.
It's starting to look pretty good, though.
Yes. It looks like you have frosted tips.
I've always wanted to be, like a boy band.
Yeah, you look like the Nick guy. Well, not Nick. Is Nick Carter?
Nick Carter? Yeah, from was it NSYNC?
Yeah. Is Nick Carter in NSYNC?
Is it NSYNC?
I have.
That's
no
the
idea.
one with NSYNC. Wait, is NSYNC the one with
that's
Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, that's JT.
So no, Nick Carter was Backstreet Boys.
Are you sure?
I might be wrong.
Maybe.
Hold on, I got to.
Isn't his brother like the one who unfortunately passed away recently?
I think so.
Yeah, that stinks. Yeah, that's horrible. Anyway, I'm sorry to drop that on you, but guess what? That's kind of what we do.
I was right, Backstreet Boys.
Hey,
I know my boy band's a little bit.
That's NSYNC, I think. Is it?
I don't fucking know.
Anyway, listen, do us a favor. Go over and subscribe to our Patreon because, we drop Patreon episodes. We try to every week, as well as specials and bonuses and things like that for you guys. And we are going to be talking about the Medici family over in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
That one's pretty fun. And then you were talking about another one that we've mentioned a couple times.
I call him the BCK, but that's just his name because I don't fucking remember. I think it's like Bryan Cranston Killer or some shit like that.
It's the dirtbag that killed all the people in the
college.
The college.
Recently, yeah. It was like December or November.
In Oregon, right?
Iowa.
Are you sure it's Iowa?
As far as my notes say.
Oh, well, let's hope that's it. Anyway, so get over there, support the show. It's like $5 a month. You get all the bonuses, and we've got a lot of them over there, seriously. And as well as a bunch of special stuff and whatnot. So, support the show. Go to patreon.com/The Midnight Train Podcast, or go to the midnighttrainpodcast.com. Right. All right. So that's enough of that.
Yes.
If you can get over there, cool. If not, listen, we don't even need your money. Your money would be very well appreciated. However, word of mouth is way more important to us. So just tell somebody about the show. That's it. If you enjoy it, go, you know what? I'm going to text Grandma. I know it's late, but she's up. She's watching MASH. It's cool.
MASH is awesome.
I do love MASH.
I love MASH.
Send her a text like, Grandma, I think you'll love this show.
Stop watching Hogan's Heroes and come hang out with us.
I like that one too.
So do I.
Yeah, I love that show. That was amazing. All right, so listen, save the rest of the business stuff. All right, until the end of the show, let's just get into this. Let's turn down the lights, adjust our seats, grab a drink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And let's get brainy.
Ooh, let's get insane in the membrane.
Insane. Anyway, but here is a toast to all of you beautiful motherfuckers.
saying this is what we do.
Yeah.
We'll put like a metal, like fucking double kick drums and shit behind it.
Write the beats.
I got you.
Yeah. I'm down. If you don't know what this is, if you are new here, yes, this is an old project of mine called The Cool Whips.
Yes. And why were you called the Cool Whips?
Because we were white and we're sweet. Yeah! So, yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. And if you're not into that kind of music, I'm sorry, but I am. You know. Yeah. I love everything, though. I was just telling you, went to go see Elle King last night. Shout out to Bill.
Yeah.
Bill Birch.
Oh, good for you.
Right off the rip, Bill. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
As well as Katie, Allie. I mean, everyone, my beautiful wife, everybody. We all went out there. Heidi as well. We had a great time. Elle King just blew my mind.
Really?
Blew.
Which is funny because, like, I almost feel like she wouldn't have been your cup of tea, but then after hearing, like, her genre that she changed into...
Well, yeah, because she was pop, and if you
right.
if you don't know who Elle King is, it's Rob Schneider. Obviously, he's been in a million movies. He was on SNL.
You Can Do It,
right? He's the You Can Do It guy in almost every Adam Sandler movie. The male gigolo, whatever.
Yes, Deuce Bigelow.
It's his daughter, and she started off doing pop, and I was like, eh.
Yeah.
But then she kind of changed, and she's doing this like little country indie thing.
Yeah.
And man, she was so sick, but she was amazing. Oh, I loved it. Anyway, sorry about that. You know why I brought that up? Because that's how my brain works.
Oh, is it?
Yes, my brain fires on all cylinders at all times to the point. You hear that? Today, Junior. To the point that I have to take medication for it. So yes, you guys are listening to a guy who is prescribed Adderall every day.
Okay.
You know, because ADHD is a son of a bitch.
My prescription is alcohol.
No, well, I do that as well. Anyway, and also, if you are new here, we do a thing that if you happen to hear a reference to a movie or a quote or something like that, then you got to drink.
Yeah.
And hopefully you are drunk enough that we sound good by the time we're done.
That's always a plus side.
Got it. So anyway, my brain.
Yes.
Your brain.
Kind of.
The brain.
Yes. Brian.
Brain. So the brain is an amazing, amazing thing. And you guys are probably going, why are they talking about the brain right now? You know why? Because it's mysterious AF.
Yes.
That's why. And we do mysterious.
Pretty dark because there's no light that gets to it. So, I mean.
Oh, boy. What about the light bulb that pops up?
It comes out of your head. It's not in your brain.
It doesn't actually illuminate the inside.
No, there's no illumination.
Yeah.
There's no little minion that goes, illumination.
Illumination. Sorry. Drink up. Anyway. So, what does a brain do?
I wonder.
The brain is a sophisticated organ that manages every bodily function as well as thought, memory, emotion, touch, motor skills, vision, respiration, temperature, and hunger.
Ooh.
So when you're hungry, it's your brain telling you, like, you need to eat.
It's Brian up there. He's like, hey.
You gonna call it Brian the whole time?
I'm going to call it Brian the whole time.
Jesus, damn it.
The whole time. Dyslexia is a fucking bitch sometimes.
So the central nervous system, or CNS, is made up of the spinal cord that emerges from the brain. All right? So the brain's kind of, that is the motor of your body.
That is the highway.
Because life is a highway.
Life is a highway.
There it is. All right. There it goes. And everyone else is probably singing it too. There you go. You know you'd love it. So how is the brain, that beautiful thing inside of your head that I hope you use, how is it constructed?
I wonder.
Well, the brain is around 60% fat. Weird.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. And weighs about 3 pounds in a typical adult. Did know that thanks to Jerry Maguire. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Show me the money.
But didn't he say it was like 5.5 pounds or something like that? Yeah.
I mean, everyone's brain's different.
Little fucker lied to us.
Kind of, yeah.
Combinations of water, protein, carbs, and salts make up the remaining 40%. The brain is not a muscle in and of itself. It is made up of nerves, blood vessels, neurons, and glial cells.
Yes.
Or glial. Either way, I'm probably saying it wrong. It's probably like glial cells or whatever. So what exactly are the gray and white matter in your brains?
Yes.
There are two distinct parts of the central nervous system, gray matter and white matter. Gray matter in the brain refers to the thicker outer layer and white matter to the thinner inner layer beneath. This arrangement is reversed in the spinal cord where the gray matter is located within and the white matter is on the outside. Now, why do that?
Because the brain is going to do what it wants.
It's like, as it's growing, it's like, we're going to fool them. Let's just put a 180 on them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. Whoever, listen, we as human beings, as human beings, we are an amazing construct.
Yes.
We are absolutely, like, it's just amazing how our nerve endings work and, everything else. And the fact that we have synapses in our brain that can tell us, like, ouch, that's hot. Or to have thoughts and dreams and things like that. Why make it a different color?
It's got to be different, man.
Oh, man, it's kind of annoying. So axons, the lengthy stems connecting neurons together and covered with myelin, make up the majority of white matter, while neuron somas, the round core cell bodies, make up the majority of gray matter, or a protective coating.
Right.
It's protected.
It is.
Yes. The two appear as as separate shades on some scans because of the differences in the composition of the neuron components. Okay.
Typically, it's just a denser material. That's why it's like darker on like certain scans and different stuffs that we look at.
So the gray matter is more dense?
Correct. 'Cause that's your protective layer.
Later, dude. Each area performs a distinct function. While matter transports information to various regions of the nervous system, while gray matter is principally in charge of processing and interpreting it.
Yeah.
Is this why they say like separate parts of the brain kind of thing? Like because I know that's not like a real thing.
No,
like people are not left-brained and right-brained.
No, there's not. Your brain is not more dominant on the left or the right side, but your left and right side do control different aspects of your personality as well as motor control and stuff like that as well too. So if you are a quote-unquote right-brain kind of guy, you typically use like the left side of your body more, but it's just because it's just what you're more dependent upon. It's not because your brain is leaning that way.
I wonder if my left and right brain ever like had a discussion.
They put up a wall.
Yeah, they're like, we're not talking to each other. You, get out of here. Me walking around in circles. So now how is the brain organized? Well, your brain communicates with the rest of the body via electrical and chemical impulses. Your brain interprets each signal, which controls a distinct process. For instance, some, they make you feel worn out, while others make you uncomfortable. Okay? And sometimes you're like, why do I feel this way? Well, that's that thing inside your two ears, in between the two ears, that's making you do all that.
Yes, all the time.
It is an amazing thing. It is so amazing.
It's very scary sometimes.
And as we get into this, you're going to find out why we believe it's so amazing. Okay? Because a lot of people they take it for granted. You walk around all day long like,
yeah, you could be an ant, man. Like ants just know what to smell and they just walk in a straight line typically.
Do they not have brains?
They do.
Yeah.
But their brains literally don't do anything except tell what part of the body to move, and that's it.
Did you know an ostrich's brain is smaller than its eyes?
Yes, actually. It's like the size of a walnut. Almost the same size as a Tyrannosaurus Rex's brain. I don't think you thought this well, Master.
I love that movie so much. Drink up. So anyway, some messages are stored in the brain while others are transmitted to distant extremities by way of the spine and the extensive network of nerves in the body, right?
Yes.
So like that's like when you get that tingly feeling like, oh man, I'm hot or I'm cold or, if you're not getting enough blood flow or whatever, your brain's like, hello, you. Please,
wakey.
Get up and move, please. You got the tingles. I hate the tingles. They're the worst.
Yeah, so do I.
My wife, every time I have to avoid telling her if my foot's asleep or something, because she will go over and just grab it and start squeezing. Oh, dude, it's the worst. It's the worst.
God, you're already feeling 1,000.
Yeah. She's so mean. Needles. She's so mean to me. She's so mean. Anyway, so the central nervous system uses billions of neurons to accomplish this, with nerve cells, right? So the nerve cells are not floating around, but they're everywhere.
Right. Pretty much.
The brain's major components, all right, let's talk about those for a second, and their functions. There's the cerebrum.
I think it's...
Or cerebrum.
That's exactly how it should be
The
pronounced.
brainstem. stem.
Yes. Stems of Brian.
And the cerebellum.
Ooh.
Which is a great album by Tool. I
Yeah.
don't think that's a real album. Anyway. And they can be thought of as the three main parts of the brain, okay? So the cerebrum, all right? That's gray matter.
Yes.
Right? The cerebral cortex, as they call it there in the smart people plant, wherever they're at. Anyway, and white matter make up the cerebrum, okay? The front of the brain. So that's up front. Okay, the cerebrum, which is the biggest component of the brain, controls temperature as well as initiating and coordinating movement. Okay.
Oh,
So kind of need that.
a little bit.
A little bit important.
A little bit. That's why you shouldn't bash your head into things.
Football players. Anyway, CTE is a bitch and a real thing.
Yeah.
Speech, judgment, thinking, and reasoning, problem-solving, emotions, and learning are all made possible by different regions of the cerebrum. Right?
Kind of the most important part of your brain right there.
It sounds pretty important, yeah.
Yeah.
Additional functions deal with the senses of sight, sound, touch, and others.
Yeah.
Seems pretty significant.
For such a small part,
Yeah.
it's a very big part of your life.
So now, the cortex.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the term cortex, which is Latin for bark.
Woof.
What? Is it really? Yeah. It's okay. Refers to the cerebrum's outer layer of gray matter. Because it's protective, maybe?
Yeah.
That's why they called it.
Kind of why I think that, yeah.
Some Latin guy's like, we don't have a name for that. And his dog's like, woof, buck. It shall be buck.
No, his dog went, cortex.
Damn, dog, you're smart. So due to its folds, the cortex has a huge surface area and makes up nearly half of the weight of the brain. Now, there are two hemispheres, all right, or has. That's what we were talking about a minute ago.
Yes.
Okay, or of the cerebral cortex. It has folds and ridges. The gyri,
Yes.
they're called, so those things, those ridges in your brain are called gyri.
Called gyros.
It's not gyros. I do love a good gyro,
Yeah.
though. Oh, man. It's not gyri, is it?
No, it's gyri or gyri or whatever, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I believe
right.
it's gyri, yeah.
And then it has the sulci, right? Or sulci?
Yes.
Which
so
is-
the folds are the gyri and the ridges are the sulci.
Got all that? All right. So the interhemispheric fissure, also known as the medial longitudinal fissure, connects the two hemispheres of the brain and extends from the front to the rear of the skull.
So when you're looking at a brain, you have your frontal cortex, which is the big...
Can we pause for a second and just highlight the fact that I didn't mess that up?
Very good. Very good.
Hey, I get that. Yeah. That was first time. I didn't have to re-record that or anything. Sorry, go ahead.
No pre-planning or anything.
I feel really good about that.
But when you look at the brain, you have the very front portion of the brain, which literally looks like a quarter. Is just like of a circle, like a half of a circle is just connected to it. And then on top of that, you have this line, or the whatever the hell that fucking long ass word is, the interhemispheric fissure that goes across the very middle of it, and then you have your two hemispheres on either side. So it literally looks like
Looks like a walnut.
Yeah, it looks like a walnut.
Yeah.
Literally.
Seriously, your brain looks like a walnut.
It's just like 8,000 times bigger.
And if you happen to watch any of the autopsy videos that he made me watch, then you'll know what I'm talking about.
See, it's funny because whenever I talk about the brain, I literally just see it in the palm of my hand now. Just squishy and moving.
I don't like it. So it connects the two hemispheres of the brain and extends from the front to the rear, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, the left half of the brain controls the right side of the body and the right half the left, right? For the most part. So the corpus callosum, a sizable C-shaped mass of white matter and nerve connections, serves as the communication link between the two hemispheres.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the satellite
Yeah.
between the two, or the what is that called? The tower.
Yeah.
To communicate between, the planes.
I like that.
Yes, it's a flight tower.
Air traffic control tower.
Yes, there it is.
Yes.
That's what it is. Beep, 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 beep the whole time. Yes. I don't know. Sorry. I'm just trying to make sense of all this as I relay to you guys here. So it's in the middle, right?
Right.
So the cerebrum's corpus callosum is right damn in the middle.
All right. Connects both of them.
Then you have the brainstem. The cerebrum and spinal cord are linked by the brainstem, which is in the center of the brain. The midbrain, pons, and medulla. I'm not going to do it.
Your medulla oblongata.
Damn it.
Mama always says last
Something wrong with his medulla oblongata.
Listen here, Colonel Sanders.
So those are all parts of the brain stem, okay? So with a variety of distinct neuron clusters, the nuclei and colliculi.
Oh, that was very good.
Yes, neuronal pathways and other structures, the midbrain, or I got this, hold on. Mesencephalon.
Yeah.
Is a tremendously complicated structure.
Yes, and so was that word.
I don't want to say it again. These traits make it easier to do a variety of tasks, including listening, moving, responding to environmental changes, and calculating responses. The substantia nigra, a region of the basal ganglia that facilitates movement and coordination and is damaged by Parkinson's disease, is also located in the midbrain. And Parkinson's sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I guess they just released a a medicine that's supposed to prolong it's either Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, which both brain related.
Yeah.
Which our family, unfortunately, all have suffered from. But it's supposed to prolong it like 5 years.
Oh, really?
It just got approved like recently.
Wow.
After the FBI. Yeah, the FBI was like, hey, see? Look what we've got for you.
No more LSD. Here you go.
What's wrong with the old brain? Here, take some drugs. No, the FDA. I believe I read that the other day.
Okay,
I think I could. I drink a lot. Whatever. So, with a variety of distinct neuron clusters, like we said there. Okay, the pathways and stuff. So it makes it easier without them, you wouldn't be able to do certain things. That's why when it goes in and like you have diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, things like that, that's where it focuses on the disease itself. So it takes away from your ability to do those things, to remember,
right,
to function correctly,
just to be able to have any motor skills whatsoever.
Yeah, like it's so horrible. So for 4 of the 12 cranial nerves, which enable a variety of functions like tear generation, okay, chewing, okay, blinking. Can you hear me blink? No? Okay. Concentrating eyesight, balance, hearing, and facial expression originate in the pons.
Pont de Leon.
The pons, which means bridge, okay, in Latin serves as the link between the midbrain and the medulla. Makes sense. Bridge. Get it. The medulla is where the brain and spinal cord meet at the base of the brainstem. A medulla is necessary for living. Isn't the entire brain?
You don't need to move.
I mean, kind of
be able to.
Kind of important. Many biological processes, including heart rhythm, respiration, blood flow, oxygen, and carbon dioxide levels, are regulated by the medulla's functions. Reflex actions like sneezing, vomiting, coughing, and swallowing are produced by the medulla. Gulp. The spinal cord passes through a sizable aperture at the base of the skull from the medulla's bottom. The spinal cord, which is supported by the vertebrae, transmits and receives signals between the brain and the rest of the body. Right? That's what it does. It shoots signals constantly.
All day long.
Pew, 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 pew. It's like a game of Pong from back in the day. I can't do it like in Spaceballs. We got the bleeps, the creeps. Can't do it as well as he does. Anyway, if you don't know that movie, I don't know what to tell you.
Wasn't he the same guy that was in Police Academy?
Yes.
That was the same guy?
Yes.
Dude, that guy is freaking
He's amazing. Absolutely. All right. The cerebellum, sometimes known as the little brain, is a fist-sized section of the brain situated in the rear of the head, above the brainstem and below the temporal and, occipital. I had it.
You did have it, yeah.
Occipital lobes. It features 2 hemispheres, just like the cerebral cortex. The inner region connects with the cerebral cortex, while the outside region contains neurons. Its job is to keep posture, balance, and equilibrium while coordinating voluntary muscle movements.
Yes.
Right? It's what tells your ass to walk.
And stay standing up straight.
And feed yourself and drive a car. Anything that you need motor skills, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Kind of. Anyway, the cerebellum's function in intellect, emotion, and social interaction, as well as its potential roles in addiction, autism, and schizophrenia, are the subject of recent studies. I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, if you think about addiction and with autism and everything else, and especially schizophrenia, jeez. So apparently that's where it kind of, I hate to use the word, but that's where it stems from. You're welcome.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Oh, and all those obviously need a lot more research, and hopefully, you know what I mean? Like if you can get out there, support those, the research causes, because, we do want to, at some point in time, figure this out. And that's part of why we're doing this episode, is because there are certain afflictions. And if you are a longtime listener of the show, you know that I am a big, advocate for mental health, wellness, And there's a lot of stuff about our mental health that we just, or our brains, that we don't know enough about to even remotely start to fix.
Right.
So
that's why if I was a billionaire, instead of trying to go to the next planet, I'd be worrying about our brains and how the fuck they work.
As would I.
That's why we're not billionaires, though.
However, we're not billionaires. Nope. Wait. Yet.
God, that would be amazing.
All right. Anyway, so, meninges?
Yeah.
A, serve as protective covering. It serves as a protective covering for the brain. The brain and spinal cord are encased in 3 layers of defense known as the meninges.
Yeah.
Sounds like an 80s pop band.
Sounds
Ladies and
like
gentlemen, the
salsa.
meninges. Yeah. Sounds like to me. The dura mater, is it dura mater or is it the mater like toe mater?
Is like toe mater.
Is it really?
It's duramater.
Dura mater? No, it's... Is it really?
It's like tomato without the tub.
Is it really Duramater? Okay.
Duramater.
So by the way, so Logan did the entire research on this. Okay, I did nothing on this. So
If it's too scientific, I'm sorry.
there's a lot that's going into this, and you can send all hate mail to Logan at the Midnight Dream Podcast at gmail.com.
I'll read every single one of them, and I will enjoy every moment of it because this is amazing.
One of these days, people are going to realize that none of those email addresses actually work.
Why would you say that out loud?
Because it's funny. So the dura mater, the topmost layer, is substantial and resilient. So I guess it's pretty tough, right?
It's very tough.
Okay. There are 2 layers to it. The inner dome of the skull, the cranium, is lined by the peristeal layer
Yeah.
of the dura mater. Man, you're putting me to work today. Woo. And the meningeal layer lies beneath it.
Very true.
Okay, so is that where like the term like, spiral meningitis and stuff like that comes from? Because the meningeal layer, is that what it attacks?
Correct.
Damn, I'm good.
Pretty good at this, man.
Whew. Veins and arteries that supply the brain with blood can pass through spaces between the layers.
Yes.
Okay. A web-like layer of thin connective tissue, the arachnoid mater. I just can't with the mater thing, dude. Thank you to mater for messing that up for me. That's
Hey, man, Larry the Cable Guy knows what he's talking about.
yeah. It is devoid of blood vessels and nerves, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So the cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, lies beneath the arachnoid matter. Arachnoid. That sounds like spiders.
Yeah, spiders live in your brain.
Oh, you got brain spiders.
You got the brain spiders.
What's going on with your hair? Look like a bunch of spiders is having a meeting. It's from Friday. Drink up. Anyway, I don't even know why I did that. So this fluid actually continuously circulates around the brain and spinal cord, cushioning the entire central nervous system and removing waste products. So it's
which a lot of
kinda
times is why like when people when babies and stuff like that are born, their brains are their skulls are super like puffy and stuff, because there actually is a rise of an issue where they actually don't have that like valve that gets rid of that waste matter. So it just swells up all that fluid and shit that your body can't excrete.
So what weight? It might talk about it. I don't know. But what waste matter are you like? What are you?
So like you have oxygen, you have nutrients, stuff like that go into there. It's the byproducts of all that stuff that is just sitting in that, and then your body actually flushes it out. So you actually have like little passageways on the side of your neck and stuff like that that actually have fluid that go through, and that actually goes through the rest of your body's systems.
and like cleans your brain out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your brain gets
That
washed
is
all the time.
amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Holy crap! Yeah, we have like a self-washing brain.
Yeah, we literally do. We have a power wash station inside of our brain.
That is so cool.
I mean, your brain literally is just sitting inside of a cavity with
It's like
fluid
floating, yeah.
surrounding it. That's the only reason. That's like
And that's why concussions are bad, okay?
yeah.
Because you're basically just shaking your nugget, and that little noodle inside your skull gets bruised.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not good. And too many of those. Again, just going back to the CTE thing. Anyway, sorry. So the brain's surface and its contours are hugged and followed by a thin membrane called the pia mater. Son of a bitch. The pia mater is full of arteries and veins. The outer dura mater, arachnoid, and inner pia mater are the 3 meningeal layers that lie beneath the skull.
Yes.
Okay. Now we got all that.
So if you want to go back to the autopsy,
Okay.
when they crack open the skull,
I mean, I don't want to, but I will.
and they had to slice away at a thin skin-like coating that was surrounding the
The
brain.
membrane.
That is the membrane. That is
Yeah.
part of the meningeal layer.
Oh.
You're welcome.
You guys are learning all kinds of stuff today. Brain lobes, and let's talk about what the brain lobes and what they control.
Yeah.
Okay. So the frontal, parietal,
Parietal.
that's what I said. Temporal, and that's like the first one I've messed up, dude.
Is
All
actually,
right.
yeah, pretty impressed.
Parietal, all right. Temporal and occipital lobes are the 4 portions that make up each cerebral hemisphere, which is part of the cerebrum.
Right.
Okay. Certain functions are controlled by each lobe. So each one of those lobes, all 4 of those, control certain things.
Correct.
Right. So again, Your brain, that thing, as you're listening to this right now, that thing inside of your head is one of the most intricate, I don't want to say devices, organs, whatever you want to call it, that's ever been created.
It's literally its own supercomputer.
It's ridiculous, and you need to take care of it, okay?
Man.
So maybe stop smoking so much of them tweeds, okay? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean.
Or maybe do, because maybe it's supposed to, like, you know, because they say, like, mushrooms and stuff supposed to, like, open up your brain.
Dude,
like,
I saw the most fucked up video today.
While on mushrooms?
No, it was about mushrooms and shit like that, like fungi and stuff. So there's a new show, which I'm sure you probably haven't seen.
Hey, real quick. Mm-hmm. Why was the mushroom invited to the party?
Because he was a fun guy.
He was a fun guy! Hey!
But there was a video. So there's a show called The Last of Us. It's based off a video game, which I'm sure you played.
It's
the
amazing.
Video game.
Yes.
But there's a character in that goes back to a amazing movie called The Mummy. His name is Jonathan. He plays as a doctor who talks about fungi and like how they work and how they kind of take over your brain with like filtering with hallucinogens and stuff like that. Because in that show, spoiler alert. Yeah, you're welcome.
In that show, if you haven't seen Last of Us, it is amazing. But in the show, and because it's from the video game or whatever, the quote unquote, I guess, zombie outbreak actually stemmed from
a fungal outbreak.
A fungal outbreak, which could happen because if you guys want to look up some really messed up stuff, look up how ants and the fungi that attaches to ants can turn them into zombies.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's all controlled. Like everyone thinks that viruses are super scary, which they are, but fungi are even scarier because they know what they're doing at the same time that they're actually trying to, basically they give you the hallucinogens to make you think that, hey, everything's great, but I'm going to make you do what I want. If you don't do this, then you're not getting the hallucinogens. And all of a sudden your brain just stops working. Like, it's fucking scary. But there was a scene in there where Jonathan was talking about was like the only reason why we don't actually have an issue to this day about fungi outbreak is because our internal temperatures are a little too high. But as soon as they develop that mutation that allows them to...
Yeah. It says that. Yeah.
Like,
it's a great show. You should watch it. But I think it's really screwed up that you call yourself fungi, but yet you're not...
I mean, they give you hallucinogens, man. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, what is it called that comes from the mushrooms and stuff?
It's like a toxicotese or something like that.
I can't remember what it's called, but apparently it's supposed to be like they're doing so much research on it where people are taking this and it's like literally transforming people with Alzheimer's and stuff like that. It's like it's transforming their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people that had issues with like motor skills and stuff like that. It's all of a sudden like it's taking. Like Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Parkinson's, you shake a lot.
Right.
This, you take this, and all of a sudden, you're not shaking anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why that is not being studied a lot more, which I'm sure it probably is, but, you know, as opposed to, you know, going to space. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. So, and the anterior lobe, or the frontal lobe, the largest part of the brain here. Okay, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. It's called the anterior lobe, right?
Anterior.
The anterior. It's not in.
No.
And.
Inclusive.
Right. It's the largest part of the brain. It controls personality traits, judgment, and movement. It is situated in the front of the head. A portion of the frontal lobe is typically involved in smell recognition. Mm-hmm. All right. The Broca's region, which is connected to speech capacity, that's also located in the frontal lobe.
Correct.
All right. So that's how you... So if you have like a speech impediment, mm-hmm. like, you know...
Stuttering and stuff
Stuttering, things like that, it's probably where it's the afflect is from, right?
Like Ben Affleck?
Not Affleck.
Is he...
I'm Batman.
Say you play Batman in my brain now?
I'm Batman. Sorry. So the pituitary lobe.
Yes.
Okay.
Big function.
Say it again.
The parietal.
Damn it. The parietal lobe, located in the middle of the brain, aids in object identification and the comprehension of spatial relationships, which include comparing one's body to the surroundings. Okay.
It's like situational.
Right. Maybe we don't need that one.
We don't necessarily need it, but that's what separates us from typical animals. Like it's actually really cool. There was actually a study done recently about dogs and cats. Dogs, that's why when they see themselves in a mirror, they look up. They get real aggressive. They like think it's another dog. But when a cat sees themselves in the mirror, they know it's a cat. They don't give a shit.
No, what?
Some cats don't have that function and get crazy with them. But most cats have that function where they see themselves in the mirror and they're like, yeah, that's me. I'm used to that. Like I've seen myself in water reflection, shit like that. But there's rare occasions where some cats, they'll see them and they're very, I don't want to say barbaric, but they're very rudimentary when that comes to that aspect.
You ever see the videos of like where they put like a mirror in the jungle and the ape sees it, the
Yep.
the gorilla sees it,
Just goes ape
just
shit.
goes nuts.
Yep.
He's like, "Ugh," and he's like looking around the back of it, like ready to go.
I seen one where a bear did the same exact thing too. Like
Yeah.
he literally attacked it and looked behind it, was like, oh shit, and then walked away.
Yeah. Like, dummy, it's just a mirror. Don't you use one of those? Didn't you find that in the porridge house with Goldilocks or whatever house it was? I'm sorry. So the interpretation of touch and pain experienced by the body also involves the parietal lobe. Did I say it again wrong?
You could say it's either parietal or the parietal. You can go either way.
Okay. So Wernicke's region, which aids the brain in comprehending spoken language, is located in the parietal. Damn it! Why can't I get that one? Parietal. Parachute. Poopy
Sure.
pants. Anyway. Oh, boy. The occipital lobe. I can do that one perfectly.
Yeah, it's easy.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The back portion of the brain that controls vision is called the occipital lobe. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right. So the temporal lobes on the side of the brain have a role in short-term memory, speech, musical rhythm, and to some extent, smell perception. All right?
Yes.
So each one of those has something to do with how you as a human being react to smells, tastes, music, that is one of the most baffling things to me because obviously I'm a huge music fan and music is like, it's like my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's
outside of this podcast, of course. But even then, I'm still, like music is so big to me. And there's people that just, they don't see or should I say hear music like I do.
Yeah.
And, and it's fine. And I get it. But there's some people that are just like, I don't even listen to music.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I couldn't.
How could you not?
Like,
you know?
I had the worst migraine of my life last night, and I had to have music on. Like, it was just my calming sensation to try and get me to relax.
Music transforms my entire demeanor during the day. I could be in a horrible mood, and then all of a sudden I'll hear like 2 or 3 songs back to back that are like, okay.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I'm dancing like, all right, it doesn't matter that person just shot me. Okay. You know what I mean? Like music is so big, but that's why is because everybody's brain is wired differently.
Yeah.
There's different chemicals, different synapses, different anything in there that's why we're all different.
That's why we're all snowflakes.
Yeah. Well, we are. I mean,
We are. We're so unique in the fact that every single one of us is different and wired completely different.
yeah,
Just like a snowflake.
and it's because of that beautiful thing sitting on top of your shoulders right now.
Yep, and it's used for more than just growing hair in your head.
You had to say that, didn't you?
I did.
Because mine stopped. Thank you. If you don't know, yes, I don't have any hair on my head. Anyway, moving on. So then there's the hypothalamic gland.
Yes.
Okay. The pituitary gland, a pea-sized organ located deep within the brain beneath the bridge of the nose, is sometimes referred to as the master gland. Master blaster. The thyroid, adrenals, ovaries, and testicles all release hormones into the body, which are controlled by the pituitary gland. Via its stalk and blood supply, it gets chemical signals from the hypothalamus.
Yes.
The hypothalamus is the one that's going, put it to the boner. Right?
Every day.
Right. Like you. He seems to be in a really comfortable position. Get him hard.
Make them uncomfortable. In the middle of class.
Erect the statue. Oh, God. Puberty sucked. Anyway, Thank you, hypothalamus. Yes. Above the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus communicates chemical signals that regulate pituitary activity. It controls hunger, thirst, regulates body temperature, synchronizes sleep cycles, and contributes to some elements of memory and emotion. And now some people have issues with their certain glands in their body. They're glands, so those are all kind of, attached to, that beautiful thing in your head right now.
Yes.
But it can cause weight issues.
Yes.
It can cause blood issues, nervous issues, things like that. Those glands do a lot. And if you pay attention to those glands, because you can actually feel some of them, when they start to, get bigger or hard or whatever, guess what? You're either sick or going to get sick.
Yes.
So pay attention to your body, folks. That's it. Your body knows what the hell's going on.
Yes.
Okay? So pay attention. And we don't do that enough.
No.
We don't. Everyone's like, no, I'm fine. Really? Then why is that thing bulging out of your neck right now? Right. Like it has a face, dude. Like, go to the doctor.
It's literally saying its name is Brian. What the fuck is going on with you?
Oh, boy. Let's see. Each hemisphere of the brain has an amygdala.
Nope.
Amygdala.
Nope.
Amygdala.
Amygdala.
That's what I said. Amygdala. Right? Is that it? Did I get it right? No? Amy G. De La.
It's Amy
Amy
G.
G.
Delay.
Amygdala. Is that not it? What is it?
Amygdala.
Amygdala. That's what I said. Which is a small almond-shaped structure, okay? The amygdala, which are part of the limbic system, control emotion and memory and are linked to the brain's reward system, stress, and the fight or flight reaction when someone senses a threat. Very important.
Kind of. I mean,
a little bit. That's the reason that, like, you know, if you're in an accident, you put your hands up. It's the reason that if somebody has a gun, you go, oh shit, I'm going to run, instead of going, hey, what's that? You know?
I could see myself on the reflection.
That's a pretty gun. Then there's the hippocampus. And that's where hippos go to college. Anyway, I'm done here, folks. I'll see you later.
That's fucking episode, dude.
The hippocampal formation is a bigger structure that includes the curved seahorse-shaped hippocampus, which is located on the bottom of each temporal lobe.
So that means it's not a hippo. It's a seahorse.
Why would they call it a hippo then?
Because seahorse campus sounds stupid.
How's your seahorse campus working? I don't know. Feels more like a hippo. I don't know. So it aids in learning, memory, navigation, and spatial awareness. It gets data from the cerebral cortex and could have an impact in Alzheimer's.
Yes.
So these are things that they're kind of like dialing in on now when it comes to these ailments and whatnot.
Correctamundo.
Then these, oh boy, the pineal gluten. Yeah. Glutton. Is it glutton?
It's glutton.
Glutton?
Yes.
Why'd you call it a glutton?
Because you're a glutton for punishment.
Oh boy. So deep inside the brain, the pineal gland is connected to the third ventricle's top by a stalk. Melatonin, and I'm sure we've heard a lot about that recently because you can actually take pills to help you with that. A hormone secreted by the pineal gland in response to light and darkness controls circadian rhythms and the sleep-wake cycle. That's why you can actually go and buy
melatonin, whatever. Yeah,
just supposed to help you sleep.
Yeah,
because sometimes the chemicals in your brain, the melatonin in your brain, it's not really working correctly. And it may be offset. So you go, and I've got some melatonin gummies upstairs that knock me out.
Really?
Oh, man.
Dude, I've literally eaten half a jar of
not these ones.
Melatonin gummies, and they're like 30 or 40 milligrams a piece.
Not these ones.
I had literally half of one time because I could not fall asleep.
Well, I have a different gummy I can give you.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you'd like to try that.
I mean,
it's not melatonin.
But
it starts with an M. Kind of. It'll. Well, one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to fall asleep or you're going to have the best night of your life.
So doesn't sound like a con in any way, shape, or form.
It's not at all. It's not. So I got you. Anyway, yeah, it's good stuff. So then there's the, cerebral spinal fluid and ventricles, right? There are 4 open spaces with connecting tunnels deep into the brain.
Yes.
Okay.
They go choo-choo.
Hopefully, midnight train's coming. Turn off now. They also have openings into the central spinal canal and the meningeal region below the arachnoid layer. Cerebral spinal fluid, also known as CSF, like we talked about earlier, is produced by the ventricles and flows between the meninges. I had it earlier. In and around the ventricles and in and around the spinal cord. So the spinal cord and brain are encircled and cushioned by, as we said earlier, this fluid.
Yes.
Okay. Which also removes, again, the waste and pollutants, and which I did not know anything about.
Yeah.
I think that's
actually kind of interesting. My uncle, that's if you've ever heard of like I think it's called a stunt.
Yeah.
That's what
stint.
A stint. Yeah. Stint. Yeah. So they put
a stunt is what happens to your brain when you fuck it up. All right.
But that's what they put inside like the side of your neck. That's what helps with like either introducing the cerebral spinal fluid or excreting the cerebral spinal fluid that's been used.
Oh yeah, for the ears. So like people that can't hear and like having issues with their hearing and stuff like that, they put a stent in.
Yeah. They do the same thing. My uncle actually had that because when he was born, Tony. He was actually born without that the exhaust pipe, basically. He was born without that, so they actually had to go in surgically and put that in there. And if you actually wanted to, you can actually feel the pipe on him. And every once in a while, he'll feel backed up. He actually has to push it to actually push the fluid through.
Did you just tell me you felt your uncle's pipe? Moving on. The vertebral arteries and the carotid arteries, carotid, I got that. Carotid arteries are 2 groups of blood vessels that deliver blood and oxygen to the brain. They're also very, very, very susceptible to you getting punctured and you bleeding the fuck out.
Yes, and they're also used for erotic asphyxiation as well, too.
Oh.
Yes, there's two
I'm
different.
learning a lot about you tonight. Jesus. Did Uncle Tony and his pipe teach you that? Like, the fuck's going on over here? Jesus.
You gotta be past up this, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Where's your carotid? Let me show you. It feels weird. Oh. Ow. You may feel your pulse when you touch the area with your fingertips because the external carotid arteries run up the sides of your neck. Blood is pumped to the front of the brain by the internal carotid arteries, which branch into the skull. Yeah. So whenever they go to check and see someone's pulse, whatever, which I guess now they do it down here on the wrist or whatever. Wrist, yeah. But yeah, you can still feel it right there. Mm-hmm. That is a very important artery. You don't want to mess with it. The basilar artery? Yeah, okay. Which carries blood to the back of the brain is formed when the vertebral arteries, which follow the spinal column through the skull, come together at the brainstem.
Yes.
Okay, so these are more arteries that are just moving blood through your body.
Yes.
Your brain especially, because your brain, you need it. You got to have that, because if you stop having blood in your brain,
you go asleep.
Lack of oxygen from the blood in your brain, you go night-night. Mm-hmm. And you might not wake up. Mm-mm. So let's just keep that working, folks.
And just stay tuned, man. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. It's oh boy. So circulating blood from the front to the back of the brain and facilitating communication between the arterial systems is the circle of Willis.
Yeah. You got a Willie in your brain.
Motherfucker. The circle of Willis. What you talking about, Willis? That's all I'm hearing now. A loop of blood vessels towards the bottom of the brain that connects major arteries. Yes. And that is called the circle of Willis.
Yes.
That is amazing.
And that's what Bruce Willis... Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Should have called it the Die Hard. That'd be amazing. Yeah, so good. All right, so now the nerves in the head. All right, there are actually 12 cranial nerves, often known as the dome of the skull, inside the cranium. Now, listen, I know we have a lot of nurses or people in the medical field that listen to this, and if we get this wrong...
All hate mail goes to Logan at the minute.
That's right. That's right. You send it all over there.
All I have to say is my mom and aunt are nurses, so if I got any of this wrong, blame them because they're the ones who taught me half the shit.
All right. So, and our buddy Dave.
Yes.
He's also a nurse.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Hi, Dave, you 9-fingered bastard. All right. So, one, the olfactory nerve.
Very good.
Right? Which is the first cranial nerve, is responsible for smell.
That's why if you've ever had a feature of the C word, you have a phantom olfactory response, which means that you smell things that aren't there.
A feature of the C word?
Yes. Of the wood we do not talk about. The disease that was plaguing us for 2.5 years.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that thing that we can't say because we'll get flagged.
Correct, okay. Yes. If you had that, some people's responses to that was a lack of smell and taste, was mainly your taste is made up of smell. Or you were smelling like different things that you shouldn't be smelling. And
so that got intercepted somehow.
That got intercepted from that disease is what they're thinking, and that was called a phantom olfactory response.
Okay, and if you don't know what we're talking about, it rhymes with schmovid.
Yeah,
right. There it is.
Yeah,
schmovid. The optic nerve. Guess what that controls?
Never mind.
You're going to say penis.
I was going to say penis.
In dudes, yes, it most definitely does. No, it controls vision.
Yes.
Okay, that's your optic nerve. The oculomotor nerve arises from the region of the brainstem where the midbrain meets the pons and regulates pupil response and other movements of the eye.
Yes. Okay. Also deals with love. Because apparently when your pupils dilate super big when you look at something,
you're stoned.
Means you love it.
And you're stoned.
9 times out of 10, yeah.
Okay. I guess. The trochlear nerve regulates the eye muscles. It comes out of the back of the brainstem's midbrain region.
Now, we're on number 4. There's 12. So you have 4 nerves that work just your fucking eyes.
Just your eyes.
Yeah. All I'm saying.
And your eyes, we take everything
for granted, yeah.
We really do when they are magnificent creations. They are absolutely astounding. The fact that you can sit there right now and you can look at something and then just just go like this, blink your eyes, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If something's bright, all of a sudden you wince, you know what I mean? That's because of those nerves.
And it's crazy. But the thing that drives me nuts is that we still can't see at night. And yet we have half of our brain's nerves functioning on our eyes.
Well,
just saying.
Not yet we can't.
Ooh.
Hey, you like that.
All right, come on, Elon.
Then there's the trigeminal nerve,
That was pretty good, actually.
I guess, which has both sensory and motor function. It's the largest and most complex of the cranial nerves. It comes from the pons and permits the chewing muscles to work, as well as transmitting feeling from the scalp, teeth, jaw, sinuses, which I'm dealing with a sinus shit right now. It sucks. And other areas of the mouth and face to the brain.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a nerve dedicated to basically your face muscles.
Yes. That's why if you ever like eat something sour and your whole head fucking hurts on the one side.
Oh, that little thing right here.
Yeah, in the back.
Oh,
that's
God.
that nerve.
I hate it. Oh, like it sucks. It's like it feels like someone's stabbing you. Oh, but God, lemon heads are so good.
So good.
I don't care. Oh boy. Oh,
Yeah, even I don't know how to pronounce this one.
abducens? Hadouken? Is that what it is?
No.
It sounds like it.
Calm down, Ryu.
Sounds like it. Anyway,
I want to play Street Fighter now.
that's for you Street Fighter fans out there. The abducens or abducens, whatever. That nerve supplies portions of the eye muscles, of the muscles with sensory information. So that's actually a fifth.
That's a
Nerve.
number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 5th nerve of 12 in your brain.
Yeah.
And head. Yeah.
The facial nerve supports glandular and other functions as well as face movement. Okay.
Good luck.
The the vestibulocular nerve.
That was pretty good, actually. That was a big motherfucking word.
Thank you. It aids with balance and hearing. So, because that's got to be like for your inner ear stuff. Because your inner ear gets messed up, your balance gets way out of whack.
That's the smallest.
Like I haven't been able to hear for over a month since India.
Damn, really?
My right ear is still messed up, dude. And I'm like, I'll walk and all of a sudden just bump into something that's not even like. I'm like, where'd that tree come from? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's weird.
That's really weird.
I'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh man, this one's even bigger. The glossopharyngeal. Nope. Glossopharyngeal.
The glossopharyngeal.
Say it again.
The glossopharyngeal nerve.
That one is responsible for various tasks, including taste and ear and throat movement.
Yes.
What makes you swallow.
Yes.
So without that,
And makes your ears a little flippy floppy thingy that what's his face Alfalfa does.
I can make my ears move.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I can
do
kind of make the one go up. That's about it.
Yeah, I can make them. Can you do your nostrils like that? Your eyebrows? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
that's
No,
all
you
I
got that from, right?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
See, the vagus nerve basically just allows you to go in and win when you go to the casinos, right?
No, it's the vagus nerve, meaning it's super vague because it controls practically everything.
Oh.
Yeah. It's the vagus nerve. Get it? The vagus nerve.
Come on. The casino one was way better. Come on. So anyway, that nerve actually regulates the heart, throat, and digestive system's motor activity in addition to providing sensation to the area around the ear and the digestive system. Wait, what?
So I'm saying it's the vagus nerve.
Why-
It makes no sense.
So it regulates the heart. Okay, that's super important.
Yeah.
Throat, yes, you have to swallow. Digestive system, super big. In addition to providing sensation to the area around the ear.
Yeah, so like when your ears get super warm or whatever out of nowhere, it's like something to do with your digestive system. Like they interlock between the two. Like it lets you know, like, hey, I'm done eating, so my ears are warm now.
Or you ate something bad, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What?
Your
What?
body's crazy, man. There's so many flags.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's so amazing. The axillary nerve provides certain head, neck, and shoulder muscles with nerve supply.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's the tongue's motor function. That's right, ladies. You should like this one. And men, I guess.
I mean,
We should all like it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
It is supplied by the hypoglossal nerve.
So you have 5 nerves that control your eyes. You have, well, hold on, there's 12 total. So that means there's 7 other nerves. So that means that there's 6 other nerves that control every other part of your body. Then you have 1 nerve dedicated to just your tongue, baby.
I woke up with 1 nerve, and damn if you ain't on it. But it's crazy, though. It really is how the body is just constructed, and how we've, if you believe in, evolution or whatever you may believe out there, folks, or if you believe that a divine, person or entity created whatever you believe,
Galactus.
Galactus. Whatever you believe, it's insane. It is. I mean, you really have to just sit back and just take a a back seat and look at your body and your brain and like your internal organs. It's the way we're constructed. It's insane that we're walking around and we have gravity on this planet and we're not floating off into space, but our bones aren't collapsing, and the way our bones are set up, and like we are we're like the Lego kit from hell.
Would you say that's insane in the membrane?
Insane in the brain. Sorry.
The rest of the episode,
Yeah.
telling you.
Thank you for doing that. I get on a tangent sometimes because, like, for real, like we are, God, we're amazing creatures.
We are.
Okay. Like all creatures are amazing because they all have their own whatever. But as far as like the human being, the human person
Yeah.
is concerned and the way we're configured, it's insane. It's baffling. It's so baffling.
There's nothing on the planet that is similar to us.
Not on this planet.
No.
Heyo! So the brainstem, which consists of the midbrain, pons, and medulla, as well as the first 2 cranial nerves, is where the other 10 cranial nerves come from.
Yes. And if you didn't know that, I had to put that back in there just because sometimes you.
So wait, you already said that once?
I pretty much did. The whole episode.
I didn't even pay attention to that. So that's Logan at Gmail. No, sorry. So now we know the basics of the brain. Now what happens when there are parts that aren't, just aren't really working right? Do we get enhanced mutations that turn us into X-Men? God, that'd be amazing.
Dude, I would kill.
Okay. We're going to just, and I want to know what your
Wolverine. Already said it.
passengers know. I want to know what your mutation would be. Like if you could have any X-Men mutation. Regeneration.
I would want to be like a starfish.
So you just like get shot and just heal.
Yeah. If
So
I cut off a finger,
Deadpool,
if I cut
Hulk.
off a finger, another one of me spawns up right next to me.
Wolverine,
100%.
like all those guys. Okay, so that'd be yours.
Hey, man, I'm not called Logan for nothing.
Okay.
Just saying.
Mine would be... I have no idea.
Dude, because if you think about it, regeneration...
I have no idea.
You have practically immortality because your body has an inherent genetic code that destroys itself after a certain point.
Okay.
So if you're constantly regenerating, that means you're constantly getting rid of that the genetic code that wants to kill itself. So you live practically forever.
Right. So you get
get
okay
hurt.
with watching the people that you love die.
That would suck, but I've seen so much death in my life that honestly...
Yeah, but I feel like it could get
sucks.
worse.
It definitely can. I don't want to bury my own kid.
That's what I'm saying.
Or my grandkids. Or my great-grandkids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but at that point, it's like,
But after...
grandkids, you're
unfortunately, yeah, you get to that point, you're like, well, I've already done one. Might as well...
And I don't mean it in like negative.
No.
I'm saying like if you had to deal with that, and
you're already prepared for the next one.
Yeah, and it still...
It sucks.
That would suck.
But at the end of the day...
It's like vampires.
If I'm able to help the people around me, why the fuck not?
I mean, I guess.
I don't know, dude.
I think
about this all the
mine
time.
would be the ability to create whiskey at any point.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
To turn water into whiskey. That's my genetic mutation.
So we wouldn't call you Jesus, we would call you Jonathan. Oh my God, that makes sense.
There it is, folks. Yep. You've heard it here. That's right. That's right. That's what I would do. I would just walk around and be like, hey, nice water. Bloop. Yeah. You like that?
You should go to a triathlon.
Everyone's running by trying. I'm like, dipping my finger in every water that goes by. They're like,
oh my God, that'd be amazing.
I would just mess with people the entire time. It's great, but it's twofold.
Yes.
It's twofold.
Because now you're happy, but
Right.
also pissed off.
You know what? I actually, can I have 2 of them? Can I also have like a regenerating liver? Can I just have that?
Technically, you already do have a regenerating liver.
Yeah, but if I'm drinking that much whiskey, it better work harder. You know what I mean? All right. So anyway, does the evil side of us, does it become more prevalent? All right. Is there an evil side of us? Maybe it just gives us the right push into wanting to make a podcast. Hey, that's what the brain does. Alas, all we can do is speculate. Yes.
Not propagate,
propagate. No.
but speculate.
Postulate.
Postulate.
Is that the word you were looking for?
I don't fucking know.
Much like how brain scans in over 800 prisoners show that there might be something that links them all together. Yeah. And this goes to the whole nature versus nurture thing with serial killers and things like that, okay? So the brains of murderers look different from those of people convicted of other crimes. Differences that could be linked to how they process, should I say, empathy and morality. Okay? Right. How you or I, or everyone listening right now, well, listen. And again, if you don't, that's that thing between your noodle that's telling you that, okay, that person, I don't like them and I'm going to go and do something. So with me and you, and hopefully those that listen, we have that sense of everybody that's listening and everyone in the world at one point in time has thought about killing someone.
100%.
Okay, you have. And I don't mean like, sitting around and just going, oh, I'm going to plot their demise. I mean, if you're driving on the road.
And you just thought, hey, I'm going to veer a little to the right.
Well, no, I'm saying you're driving on the road and some douchebag, with his freaking little nut thing hanging off the back of his truck comes flying around you and then all of a sudden cuts you off. Whatever the case may be, you've thought about, man, I'd like to kill that. You know what I mean? You've thought about it. Now, the difference between thinking about it and doing it is exactly what we're talking about right now.
It separates the man from the beast or woman.
Yeah, I mean,
really, it does.
Yeah, I mean,
because when it comes to the beast does what it wants.
It do what it do.
It does what it do.
Right.
Betty Boo.
So examining brain scans of more than 800 incarcerated men, new research co-authored by a leading University of Chicago neuroscientist found that individuals who had committed or attempted homicide had reduced gray matter when compared to those involved in other offenses.
So, now I don't mean this in a funny way, but I kind of do. The denser your brain, the less likely you are to kill someone. So if you're more dense, it means you're probably not going to kill someone. Just take that into thought.
Well, yeah, because the gray matter is the dense part.
Correct.
So if you have less of that, then yes, your brain is less dense. Therefore, you are more susceptible to having those thoughts, I guess, is what this is saying.
Acting on those thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. Those reductions were especially apparent in regions of the brain associated with emotional processing, behavioral control, and social cognition. So, quote, more gray matter means more cells, neurons, and glia. And this is from Gene Decady? Decidi?
Decidi.
Decidi. Decady. Whoa. That's her name now. Or guy. I don't know what it is. The Irving B. Harris Distinguished Service Professor in Psychology and Psychiatry. Jesus. What a title.
That's her fucking title.
Hold on. Her title is the Irving B. Harris Distinguished Service Professor in Psychology and Psychiatry at U Chicago. That's a big name tag.
That's so big.
Yeah, that's going across her chest
and on her back.
Yeah. Noting differences in the orbital frontal cortex and anterior temporal lobes of the brain. Quote, that's what you need to make computations, to process information, whether it's emotional information that you use to feel empathy for someone else or information that you use to control your behavior to suppress your tendencies to react.
It's a guy, actually. I don't know why I say
it. It is a guy?
It is a guy.
So it's Jean Decady. I smoke a cigarette and give it to a baby and talk about the brain. Oh, you don't like it? Guess what? I am the Irving B. Harris Distinguished Service Professor in Psychology and Psychiatry at U Chicago.
I'm sorry, but how are you able to do that in a fucking French accent?
I don't know.
That was amazing.
Sometimes things are good. Sometimes.
That was awesome.
So Decady or Jean here, a pioneering researcher in the cognitive neuroscience of moral reasoning and social decision-making, has studied both psychopathy and the moral development of young children, okay, which it's a big thing nowadays. His long-standing partnership with neurologist Kent Keel of the University of New Mexico, who also assists in overseeing the nonprofit Mind Research Network, has produced this groundbreaking study, okay? And again, this is a debate, and I've said it so many times. It's that nature versus nurture thing. But if we now have a little bit more of an inkling going, okay, it is nature.
Yeah.
But nurture has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So if nature is saying that there is, you got a little hiccup.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you're having these badass, upbringing as a child or whatever. It's just going to take it and make it worse.
Right.
I wanted to sit down at one point in time. Sorry to derail on this one. I wanted to sit down at one point in time because I read some things that made me kind of just go, okay, I think that the capacity to murder is genetic. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's a genetic marker in your body, and I would love for them to do some sort of like DNA thing or whatever to see if you can actually I'm sure they probably have.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've whatever, but man, I'm telling you right now, I think there's some sort of there's a thing there, but then there's anomalies in everything. There's people that grow up with like the greatest families in the world.
Yeah.
And then they end up murdering the people that raised them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy. But guess what? Again, that thing sitting in between, right behind your eyebrows, that's what's doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, the brain, it's so awesome. Anyway, sorry. I love this. I love this episode. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do this one forever.
I hope I did it right.
So far, so good, my son. Thanks. Yeah. So this research spans 8 prisons in 2 states and more than 10 years of data collection, according to Keel. So, quote, the results are truly astounding, and we are privileged to present the largest sample of its sort in the world. I mean, it's nuts to me. The new research was based on structural MRI scans of the brains of men incarcerated in Wisconsin and New Mexico that the researchers had acquired from earlier investigations and was published in the journal, I almost said Brain Imaging and Behavior. These groups were formed by dividing the participants, all right? So they divided these folks up, these guys. 130 people involved in non-violent or minimally violent crimes, okay? 203 people who were found guilty of or self-reported a homicide or homicide attempt. And then 475 people who had committed aggravated battery, assault, armed robbery, or other violent crimes. Okay.
Pretty big.
Right. Except, don't you feel like out of all that, though, to me, you can't dignify murder and by lumping it in with like other violent crimes. I feel like murder's like that's the top. That's the big one, right? So in this one, it says that 203 people who were found guilty of or self-reported a homicide or homicide attempt. There's a big difference between attempting it and doing it, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whatever. We'll go on with the story. Okay. So the accomplice group was not included in the study, nor were individuals whose criminal histories or court records suggested a high likelihood of accidental death. Okay, let's take the accidental ones out. Although the brains of murderers have been the subject of prior neuroimaging studies, this is the first study to employ such a large sample and account for variables like psychosis, excluding people who have experienced brain injuries or psychiatric disorders like schizophrenia. Okay, so they're basically saying, okay, we have our main group right here, and they don't have any kind of like mental, at least pre-screened. Yeah. They don't have any of that or any injuries to the brain. Right. Because because that happens a lot. I mean, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of these murderers and stuff that's like, oh, why did he kill everyone? I don't know. He's been lumped in his head 15 times. Yeah.
Right.
Obviously something happened to his medulla oblongata. So, quote, more gray matter means more cells. All right. So, and glia. Is that what you had that again in there?
Yeah, but it's a more thorough quote.
All right. And that's what you need to make computations and to process information, right?
So more cells, the better computations you can make.
Right. So the less, meaning you're not really able to decipher.
You think of what's going on right now and not what's going to happen 10 steps ahead.
Yeah. In addition to DeCidi and Keel, the study's first author, Ashley Sages Turner, a bachelorette. Oh, is that what it is? Is it a baccalaureate?
Baccalaureate, yeah.
Baccalaureate. What the?
There's so many fucking extra letters in that. I don't know why they did that.
Baccalaureate.
It's a baccalaureate.
Is that someone getting their bachelor?
That's someone getting their back blown out.
Oh, boy. So a student at the University of New Mexico and Michael Konings, a researcher at the University of Wisconsin, are also contributors to this. Okay, right. So you've got multiple people working on this. The researchers do point out that they lack sufficient data to establish a link between decreased gray matter and homicide.
Right. So they only have 800 people that they've done this on.
Right.
Out of how many billion people are on this planet, basically. So they have a very, very small minutia of data that they are linking towards this that is saying that not having as much gray matter is making these people more predisposed to want to commit horrendous crimes. But they don't have enough of a data collection to say
the focus group on this is not large enough.
Right, it's only 800 people.
Yeah, but I mean, if your data comes back and it's like quantifying what you're saying,
Right.
then it kind of makes sense.
Which the rest of this article basically states, like, yeah, even though we don't have much to go on, we have enough to go on, basically.
Right. So the purpose of ongoing study by Keel and Decidi, damn it, is to ascertain whether the brain areas found in the sample are predictive of future homicidal conduct in a large sample of ultra-high-risk males who are now in their mid-20s. The researchers believe that this effort will aid in determining whether or not the results are causal. Right? So, since there isn't a direct link, then that can't be accurate. Right? I mean, there's no real, like, we don't really have a direct, they even said right there, like, we have a small little,
a nugget of information.
Right. So, or could it? I mean, could it be? What if you were a doctor or a leading scientist trying to link the brain and criminals' minds together, only to find out that, you actually had a brain similar to those criminals? And this is amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually know a lot about this.
Yeah.
So strap on, because, what would you do if you, passenger, if you're sitting around and you're like, you're wondering, I wonder how we could link this together. And then all of a sudden you did a test, and that test goes, guess what? You are a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, wait, what? What?
I thought I was normal.
Yeah. So one afternoon in October of 2005, neuroscientist James Fallon was looking at brain scans of serial killers.
Not Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, it's his brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As part of a research project at UC Irvine, he was sifting through thousands of PET scans to find anatomical patterns in the brain that correlated with psychopathic tendencies in the real world.
Yeah.
Sounds fun to me.
I think so.
I would be in. Quote, I was looking at many scans of murderers mixed in with schizophrenics, depressives, and other normal brains. Okay, so like he was looking at everything. Quote, out of serendipity, I was also doing a study on Alzheimer's, and as part of that, had brain scans from me and everyone in my family right on my desk. So he was kind of looking at these scans of all these serial killers and looking at scans of his family and trying to see if there's predictive accounts of Alzheimer's in his family. Okay. A quote, I got to the bottom of the stack and saw this scan that was obviously pathological. He says, noting that it showed low activity in certain areas of the frontal and temporal lobes linked to empathy, morality, and self-control. Knowing that it belonged to a member of his family, old Jimmy Fallon here checked his lab's PET machine for an error. He was like, wait, this can't be right. And of course, it was working perfectly fine. And then he decided he simply had to break the blinding that prevented him from knowing whose brain was pictured. He's like, I have to figure this out. Right. So at first he goes, wait a minute, this can't be right.
Yep.
He's like, something's wrong with the machine. He goes and looks at it. He's like, man, it's not the machine. And he's like, okay, I got to see who this is. All right, it's got to be my mother-in-law. It has to be. It has to be. That bitch is crazy. So when he looked up the code, he was greeted by an unsettling revelation. The psychopathic brain pictured in the scan, it was his. Kind of changes your outlook a little bit. Just a little bit. Yep. So many of us would hide the discovery and never tell anyone. Out of fear or embarrassment of being labeled a fucking psychopath, right?
A little bit.
Perhaps because boldness and disinhibition, wow,
you're welcome,
are noted psychopathic tendencies. Fallon, old Jimmy here, has gone all in towards the opposite direction, telling the world about his finding in a TED Talk, an NPR interview, and now a new book published last month. The Psychopath Inside. So instead of hiding this and being like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this, he said, I'm going to tell the whole world about this.
And then I like mustard.
I like mustard. And I like killing folk. It's called Sling Blade. I like the way you talk.
Sorry. I like your pretty mouth.
No, that's different. That's different. He doesn't do that. So it's different. That's totally different. Can you imagine?
You sure got a pretty mouth.
That's what I say. It works.
Yeah, see, oh God.
The trucker mouth.
Oh boy. So in this book, The Psychopath Inside, Fallon seeks to reconcile how he, a happily married family man, could demonstrate the same anatomical patterns that mark the minds of serial killers.
Hey,
okay,
listen, Ryan Reynolds was a happy family man before he did the one movie. Fuck is that movie?
Green Lantern.
No, god damn it, I just lost it.
I don't think that's a movie.
Oh!
Nor that.
The fucking massacre one where it was a remake.
Amityville.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, that joke sounded a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, you fucked it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Deleted.
Yep. Thank you.
So now, okay, so thinking about this, though, as he's going through, and obviously we'll go through the rest of the story here, though,
Yeah.
but if you're doing the research on this and you're trying to correlate people's brains with being, psychopaths and or serial killers, whatever, and then all of a sudden you stumble upon yours, does that completely annihilate your hypothesis?
So, yes and no.
Or do you immediately go, I might kill someone?
If I was going down the same path as these guys, now you're looking at this is the nature. So the nature of your personality is saying, okay, because I have this precognition, I am going to automatically ascertain the fact that I want to do this if I'm led down a path that enables me to do so.
So it's
That's
more
where
of
the
a
nurture
now,
comes
now
in.
that you know, you can kind of like
Help it.
stop it if it like rears up. If
So
it
this
rears
guy
up.
in particular had a pretty well upbringing. From all the research that I did on him, he had a pretty well-rounded upbringing where he wasn't really wanting to do that, but he still has that predisposed cognition, whatever you want to call it, because of his brain. It's not
the aptitude is
Right.
there, like the capability, should I say?
right, but he's never had the want or need to do that.
Right. Well, as he says, quote, I've never killed anybody or raped anyone. So the first thing I thought was that maybe my hypothesis was wrong and that these brain areas are not reflective of psychopathy or murderous behavior. All right. But when he underwent a series of genetic tests, he got to even more bad news. Quote, I had all these high-risk alleles for aggression, violence, and low empathy. Which is fucked up. And he says this as such a variant of the MAOA gene that has been linked with aggressive behavior. Eventually, based on further neurological and behavioral research into psychopathy, he decided he was indeed a fucking psychopath. Just relatively good, a good kind, and what he and others call a pro-social psychopath. Someone who has difficulty feeling true empathy for others, but still keeps his behavior within socially acceptable bounds.
So he is a legitimate psychopath at heart, but because he knows this now he's working even harder to want to not be a psychopath.
But does
Yes,
but does that make it okay
right
from a society standpoint? You know what I mean? Like, is that okay?
The whole point of this whole test was to determine a potential psychopath or homicidal maniac, whatever you want to go down, at an earlier age. But now there's that variable that's like, well, I have that same predisposition, but I haven't murdered anyone yet.
But see, that's my point, though. The last word you said that statement. Yet.
You know
what I mean? If you are genetically, again, I was talking about this earlier, genetically and neurologically predisposed to be a psychopath.
What's stopping you?
Well, not so much what's stopping you, but from a societal standpoint, do we just allow that person to stay there? Or do we take precautions? Or do we shun them completely?
Or
You know
do
what I
we
mean?
give them more attention, and then now, because we're giving them more attention, the other factor is not getting as much of attention. And
Yeah,
now,
it's rough.
It's a very
That's-
rough.
Yeah,
slope
that's
to go
crazy.
down.
That's absolutely crazy. And I would love to know what you guys think about that. I would like to see if you guys, if you had something that popped up that's like, hey, guess what? You could be a psychopath. Not even could. The tests show
that you are a psychopath.
you are a psychopath, even though you've never done anything. You could be the greatest person in the world, but then all of a sudden you get this thing and it's like, wait a minute. Do you immediately think to yourself and you question everything you do?
That's like saying if like Gandhi or Buddha, if you were to take their so-called answers and put them in the same exact test that they made for this particular genome, basically, and they got the same answers out that they were considered a psychopath, would that reflect your morality at that point? You know what I mean?
Would it change everything?
That's a pretty big fucking if.
We'll take it okay. If you could DNA test Jesus, would that change everybody? Everyone who follows, that
Yeah.
faith. Would that change their outlook, or or if it does, in what way?
Maybe respect them a little bit more.
I mean, well, I feel like it could be either way. You
It
know what I
really
mean?
could. It really
Man,
could.
it's such a weird the variation between that and like what could and could not be is so severe.
Now, my only question is, though, when it comes to that, though, is what has changed between a long time ago and now? like for our brains to develop into that? Like, was there a chemical that was introduced? Was it just life, or is it a mutation? Because if it's a mutation, then we can kind of go in and be like, okay, this is what that gene is. It's mutating that portion of our brain to have less gray matter, to be more predisposed to not erotic.
Wow, where are you at today?
But to have more of that.
It's a stent, right? Is that what it gets you? The pipe?
But anyways, like if there was a mutation that came a long way that made us want to be like that, like is there a way that we can kind of stop it or change it along the way? You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you a question real quick, and I'll ask the listeners as well too, because I don't know and I haven't done the research on this. But so obviously we've discussed several serial killers. We do the F That Guy series on men and women who have done deplorable things or whatever. Mm-hmm. So and me being a true crime nerd, I know a lot about it. How come? Why have we not heard about serial killers from like in the age of, say, Jesus, or in any kind of historical documents or anything? Why have we not ever heard about somebody that was, going around and just murdering people?
Because if there was any records of it, which there probably wasn't, because they were just...
But there's records of everything else. Then why?
To an extent, there's a lot of records that are missing.
But I mean, if you think about it, there's records out there of a lot. Okay,
but if that was the norm of that time, where people just went around and like, hey, I don't like you, I'm gonna bash your head in with a rock. Like, I mean, even in the Bible, there was cases of where a certain person did very deplorable.
Oh yeah,
things.
there's bad stuff with the brothers and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like in that.
I don't know a whole bunch about it, but yeah.
But what I'm saying is that you've never, up until. Okay. So up until, I'm trying to think. Obviously, everyone knows about like Jack the Ripper and H.H. Holmes and stuff like that. And obviously, documentation became a lot more steadily done. Right. But there's been documentation for
years,
thousands of years before that. Why has no one ever like said like this person in our village? Let's just say it's a village because it's small back then, right?
Right.
The world itself was less populated, and yet we don't hear about that that anomaly, or these individuals murdering people in a serial way.
Maybe we do, but we just don't know that that's what was being done. Maybe we thought it was supernatural.
That to me sounds like a bonus episode.
It really fucking does.
For real. And now we're gonna dive into that for sure. But it's bonus. So if you want to know what we find out about, you got to sign up and become a Patreon subscriber. And for all you Patreon first class passenger poopers, I'm still calling you that. You guys know what's up. So now let's talk about a few other little tests, shall we say, that have been done on the brain, right?
Yeah, we'll call them that.
Okay. So first of all, we have Harlow's Pit of Despair.
That alone does not sound fun.
Yeah, I believe it's an album from Demi Burger.
From who?
Demi Burger.
Demi Burger?
Demi Burger.
Oh.
Anyway, so in the 1960s, psychologist Harry Harlow conducted a number of studies to investigate the significant influences that attachment and love have on healthy development. Young rhesus monkeys, aren't those the one that gave the... No. They were separated from their mothers and prevented from associating with other monkeys during these tests by Harlow. The outcomes were equally devastating, as the tests were frequently shockingly harsh. In other studies, young monkeys were taken away from their biological mothers and reared by wire moms. So I guess fake moms, whatever you want to call them. A surrogate mother was entirely composed of wire. It's weird. It gave food, but it didn't give softness or comfort. Oh, that's so sad.
It's like having a robot as a mom.
Yeah.
Like, here's your food,
completely
here's your sleep,
just emotionless.
but there's no
warmth, no nothing. The other surrogate mother provided some level of comfort to the baby monkeys because she was made of wire and cloth. So she wasn't as hard and just structurally just...
So they're taking a physical attribution to that.
Harlow discovered that while the monkeys chose the soft fabric mother for comfort, even while they favored the wire mother for food. Okay. So in several of Harlow's tests, the newborn monkey was sequestered in what he called a pit of despair. In essence, this was an isolation room. For up to 10 weeks, young monkeys were housed in the isolation chambers. For up to a year, other monkeys were kept apart. The young monkeys would start to congregate in the chamber's corner and stay still in just a few days. It's so messed up. Mm-hmm. The unpleasant experiments conducted by Harlow produced monkeys, produced monkeys with significant mental and social disorders. Shocker. They were unable to play with other monkeys because they lacked social skills. They were unable to engage in typical sexual activities as well, so Harlow created yet another horrible contraption he called, ready for this? A rape rack. Yep, that's what it's called. Fuck you, Harlow. To reproduce, the solitary monkeys were restrained in a mate position. And of course, it should come as no surprise that the solitary monkeys failed to care for their young, mistreating and ignoring them. In 1985, the American Psychological Association set guidelines on how to handle humans and animals during research, which effectively put an end to piece of shit Harlow's experiments.
Yeah, that's worse than Pavlo. And if you know anything about Pavlo,
Pavlov's dog, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not dog, it's dogs.
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 You like dogs?
I like dags.
You like dags?
Oh, I like dags.
Yeah, I like dogs. So that's messed up, man.
It gets so
you
much
are
worse.
literally rewiring and look, okay, they're monkeys, okay, and not to negate monkeys, and they're a living creature.
Yeah,
you are rewiring how they work, and I hate to even use the word wiring because of the wire mothers or whatever they call them. But you're transfixing your, I guess, just the way that they are. They're brought up.
Yeah.
And you're changing them to the point where, and then the whole rape rack thing, like, come on, dude, like that's just too much. But you're changing what their, the familiarity and generationally how they are born, bred, and whatever. And what exactly do you think his point of it was?
I think it was it's the social upbringing, I guess. If you had or were put into a situation where you did not have a warm, nurturing mother or parental figure, that distinguishing that would allow you to figure out future outcomes, I guess is kind of where he was going from, was like if you didn't have that nurture portion of your life, that you were going to end up as X, Y, and Z.
Okay. Well, yeah. He
definitely got the answer.
Yeah, he proved it. Yeah. So then the next one on our list, this is Milgram's shocking obedience experiments. That sounds fun. So would you do it if someone asked you to shock a person painfully and possibly fatally? And would you? I don't know.
I put you in a room right now, and there's a button, and I asked you to kill one person. You wouldn't know who it was, but I give you $1 million to do it. Would you
was
do it?
my life or someone I loved on the line?
It's one random person.
Just one random person in the world.
That's it.
No, I would not do that. Would not. No, there's no. Why? I mean, somebody innocent could be. You know what I mean? I mean, no. There's no way.
There's actually a movie about that.
If they put a gun against my head, and they were like, "Listen, if you don't do this, I'm going to splatter your brains against the wall," then yes, I probably would.
And the answer to that question is like 99.9% of the time, that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah. Or if they like threatened somebody I loved or whatever, they said you had to do this or whatever. But here's the fucked up part is that, and I don't know, you said there was a movie about this, but what if that random person happens to be the person you love?
That's what the fucking movie's about.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's
oh my God.
up.
I want to say it's Samuel L. Jackson who does it too. He's the guy who walks in with a briefcase, puts it on the counter, and was like, press this button. If you do, I'll give you $1 million. But one random person dies. And that one random person just so happened to be her husband. The fucking movie's amazing. I don't remember what the fuck it's called. I want to think it's called The Box. I think it's called The Box.
Oh, that's so scary.
I got to look it up
scary.
now. Hold on while you're doing the rest of
it. Oh, I wouldn't do it. So the vast majority of us would assert that we would never act in such a manner. Yet a contentious psychology experiment called into question this fundamental presumption. In order to better understand the nature of obedience, did you find it?
I'm so good. It is called The Box.
Is it with Sam Jackson?
It's with Cameron Diaz, James Marsden, but I don't think it's Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know who the guy was that walked in with the box.
Wait, is that Ethan Hawke in that?
I don't know.
We'll talk about it later. Don't tweet us or message us. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so this is a social scientist, the social scientist Stanley Milgram ran a number of experiments. Okay, according to Milgram's theory, people will frequently go to tremendous lengths and occasionally dangerous, even immoral ones, to obey an authoritative person.
We've seen that through history.
Yeah, there's been quite a few things, like the college students that had to go in and either be the
prison guard or
the prison guard.
prisoner.
Yeah. We will do an episode on that one for sure. Yeah, it's messed up. So in Milgram's experiment, participants were instructed to shock a different person with electrical shocks that got stronger as they went along. The subjects were completely convinced that the other person was truly surprised, even though the person in question was just pretending. Mm-hmm. Starting at 30 volts, the voltage levels rose in a 15-volt step. Oh, my God. Eventually, that shit's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Reaching 450 volts. Okay. The labels for the switches also include the words slight shock, medium shock, and danger severe shock. A menacing triple X served as the only indication of the maximum shock level.
Wait, you mean Ice Cube and or Vin Diesel walked in and was like, I'm going to shock this motherfucker?
Is that the triple X thing? Yeah. Do you feel better? I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
A little bit.
No, literally, I'm glad. So the experiment's findings were nothing short of astounding. Many volunteers were eager to shock the mock victim as much as possible, even if they were pleading for their release or complaining of a heart issue. That goes to show that people can be very cruel. They can, and we know this.
I mean, it's one of those things. It's like if you were brought into a room and we're like, here, I'll give you $500 for every time you press that button, but you don't know the outcome of that button. It could either kill someone, it could shock them, it could give them $500. You don't know. But like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get that one person who's just gonna go brrr, and just rapid fire that shit.
And so that's what I'm saying. That goes to show that person's mental capability. Because me, the second you said it could kill someone, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing it. It doesn't matter if it was like it could kill every pedophile in the world or it could kill an innocent mother. You know what I mean? I can't do that. I could not even remotely take that chance that I could kill somebody innocent. You know what I mean? I could never do that. Now, if you said every time you hit this, you get $500 for killing every pedophile, I'd be like, hitting him with my elbow. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the devil's advocate portion of that, though. What is classified as a pedophile? Someone who takes an indulgence in an underage person. What if you're an 18-year-old male who took an asphyxiation into a 17-year-old female? And they were brought up on charges from their parents. Now you just killed an 18-year-old male who was fixated on a 17-year-old female.
Yeah, all right.
But they're classified as a pedophile, though.
All right, yeah.
You see what I mean?
I get it. I mean, there are circumstances involved
gray
and stuff.
areas,
Yes,
but
and that's happened a lot. It's happened a lot. You know, parents will press charges against somebody, and you've got a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old.
You'd be surprised as a corrections officer. I saw that more often than not.
So can we like put a preface on that? The like
legit pedophiles,
like old dudes that like little kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been playing drums on that button.
Some death metal Dragon Force. The whole time.
The whole time. Bye. How much I got now?
$5.
So the next one here is a Zimbardo simulated prison experiment. Stanley Milgram and psychologist Philip Zimbardo attended the same high school. So Milgram, we talked about him a second ago, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that guy. All right. And Zimbardo was interested in the role that environmental factors play in social conduct. In the Stanford University Psychology Department's basement, he built up a mimic prison and for his well-known and contentious experiment. That's what we're
just talking about.
Damn it.
You're welcome.
Even then, participants were allocated to at random to either be guards or convicts. And if you haven't heard of this story before, like literally, so this professor was like, I have an idea. And he goes and he sets it up and he's going to get students to come in and they're going to, want to be a part of the experiment. And randomly, it's like, you are a guard. Mm-hmm. You are a...
If anybody watches American Dad, they did an episode on this like 2 seasons ago. The exact same thing.
Really?
The exact
I
same
don't watch
thing.
that show. Yeah,
really?
Sorry. Yeah, I don't watch it. Yeah. Sorry. So the prison warden was, of course, Zimbardo himself, right? So he's the guy watching this whole thing. So the researchers went so far as to, quote, arrest the inmates and bring them into the makeshift jail in an effort to create a realistic environment. Now, remember, you have students. They're all students. Mm-hmm. You walk in, everybody is a student. You're all unilateral. You're there. You're going to school, except you are a prisoner and you are a guard.
Right.
So position of authority, position of a prisoner.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we have here. This is fucked up. It's so fucked up.
So fucked up.
Anyway, So the guards were instructed to keep control of the prison without using force or violence while the prisoners were given uniforms. Okay, so you can't hurt anybody.
Nope.
Like, you just gotta tell them what to do.
Yep.
Right?
It's all verbal communication.
Right.
You can't lay a hand on any of them.
So guards started using measures like humiliation and solitary confinement to discipline and control the convicts when they started disobeying commands. Taking it up. Guess what? I'm an authority. I'm the authority figure.
But I hate to do this because I was in the corrections field, and I hate to do this because I was never that guy. But you get that one fucking smart aleck who just knows where the line's drawn and pushes the envelope to the edge of that line.
As a prisoner.
Yeah. So you have to make an example of them to show the other prisoners. Do
you have to?
Okay. These guys think they have to.
I was gonna say, do you have to?
I was never that guy.
I'm
but
just saying,
you got
like,
those guys that are like, I gotta show and make an example of this one guy so that way no one else tries to cross that line.
Yeah, and you're in prison.
So now you got the hot box, you got the solitary confinement, you got immoral constraints on these people.
And again, I understand why, but again, do you have to? You know what I mean? So, but I get it though, because like if you don't, because typically like in an actual prison,
yes,
you're there, and for the most part, you're there for a reason. There are those that are there in innocent until proven guilty, yada yada. I get it 100%.
But there's also those guards there who think that they're the fucking judge, jury,
correct,
executioner, and shit.
Yeah, there are guards that should not be guards. So there are guys that kind of like, prisoner wise, they push it
very much,
and I can see losing your shit on them, and because if you don't do that, then other inmates will attempt to do that, because now you are, as the person of authority, you are now no longer an authority. You're the bitch. This guy just made you look like a bitch. So everybody, or woman, whoever.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I get the idea of I have to make an example.
Yeah.
But
it's fucked up.
Oh man, that's that line again, dude.
There is such a fine line when it comes to that, because you have to think about it in this aspect too. You're one, maybe two of, let's say 120, 240. So you have one of you and there's 200 of them. If one of them make you look like a bitch, the rest of them are going to make you look like a dead bitch.
Well, it's just like they do with the inmates too.
Yeah.
Like, they
100%.
they will punk somebody, and if somebody doesn't step up and actually act right, that's why I'm never going to prison.
And I really, if you never need any help, I got
no, unless you can give me shivs. I'm not going to prison.
I'll teach you a thing or two.
I'm not a big guy, but I have a big mouth is my problem.
Yeah.
And so I would wind up, dead. I'd wind up dead. I would wind up dead. It's fine. Anyway, moving on. So the experiment was supposed to endure for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks long, right?
It's supposed to be.
Right.
2 weeks.
But it had to be stopped after only 6 days. Yeah, 6 fucking days.
It took 6 days
for them to completely unravel.
Yeah.
Well, why? Why did they unravel? Because the prison staff had begun misusing their power and mistreating the inmates. On the other hand, the convicts began to exhibit symptoms of anxiety and emotional anguish. I wonder why.
Yeah, because prison's no fucking joke.
It's not supposed to be.
It's not. It's supposed to be a punishment. Like, you fucked up in life, supposedly. Fucked up in life.
Supposedly.
Fucked up in life. So here's your punishment. Can't do the time, don't do the crime. Whatever. But now we're going to take your punishment to a whole nother fucking level.
And remember, they're college students.
Pretending for no money.
Right. They're not actual prisoners.
I got paid $18.50 an hour to do this shit. I didn't do half of this shit.
And neither of them are actual guards or prisoners.
No.
It is the most fucked up fucking... Oh, man. Anyway, so it wasn't until doctoral student Christina Maslach, I'm going to say that's her name, who would later become Zimbardo's wife, fucking weird,
a little bit,
visited the fake prison that it became obvious that things had spiraled out of control. Maslach expressed her dismay at what was happening because she was horrified. After that, Zimbardo decided to abandon the experiment. We, quote, finished the trial a week sooner than expected, but we did not end it quickly enough. Zimbardo said in a later statement. So
if you want to know any more information about this experiment, we will definitely talk about it in a bonus.
We're going to talk about it because
it's bad.
Fucked up, man. It is so fucked up. I'm sorry I keep saying, I got to stop saying the F word so much.
It's bad.
It's not very professional, right? Yes.
Fuck that.
But no, it's seriously like the whole thing, like literally, and we are going to do a bonus on this.
Yeah.
The guards started beating the hell out of people and like degrading them.
Yeah.
Like making them get naked and stuff.
It was
They were just taking that authoritarian concept way too far. Mm-hmm. And guess what? You're a student
with another student pretending.
This is someone in your class.
This is like being an actor and not realize. This is like fucking Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder not realizing you're fucking Neil Armstrong. Or somebody playing blackface.
I'm just a dude.
Pretending to be a dude. Disguised as another dude. You just some dude who don't know what dude he is.
Drink up. God, I love that movie.
Dude, you know Ben Stiller's getting fucking shit off of that?
Yeah, they're trying to cancel him.
They're trying to cancel him over that movie he did in 2008. And you know what Ben Stiller said? There is nothing wrong with that movie at all. It was a movie. We were making fun of stupid situations.
It was satire the whole time. It was satire. I mean, the fact that he was pretending, and he did a great job, by the way, Robert Downey Jr. But the fact that he was doing that, but then like there was an actual black actor that was like busting his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that they did that, at that point, stop.
Right.
Because they're making it a point to show you that somebody who is actually black is like, okay, pump your brakes, buddy.
Right.
Hop along, Kangaroo Jack. You know what I mean?
Pump your brakes. What'd he say? Crocodile Dundee?
Right. Did the dingo eat you, baby? The woman's a national treasure. Sorry.
Which that'll be a good upcoming bonus episode as well, too.
Yeah, I gotta love it. Oh, the dingo? Oh, yeah. No, that's going to be an actual episode.
An actual episode?
Oh, yeah. With the whole the dingo ate the baby thing. So, Australia, we're coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up on this, another experiment, the Watson and Rayner's Little Albert experiment. Yeah. So Little Albert is probably at least vaguely familiar to you if you have ever taken an introduction to psychology course.
Done it. Loved it. Every second of it.
A youngster was trained to dread a white rat by behaviorist John Watson and his assistant Rosalie Rayner, and this fear eventually spread to other white objects like stuffed animals and Watson's own beard.
So they try to make a young person be afraid of fluffy white things.
That's messed up. So this kind of experiment is obviously quite debatable in modern society. It is unethical to intentionally scare a baby and teach the child to be terrified, you think? According to the legend, the youngster and his mother left before Watson and Rayner could decondition the child, leading many people to speculate that there may be a man out there who has a mystery phobia of furry white items.
So there is potentially.
So they never
the mom was like, this shit's done.
They never fixed him.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
so there is a man out there, potentially, that is afraid of Santa Claus.
Or anything. Clouds?
Yeah.
Cotton candy?
Anything fluffy and or white.
According to some researchers, Douglas Merritt was the real Douglas Merritt, the boy who served as the study's focal point. These scientists think that the boy who passed away at age 6 from,
hydrocephalus.
That's what I said. Wasn't the, what is it again?
Hydrocephalus.
What is that?
It's a fucked up disease where hold on. I don't know why I didn't.
You only know it's fucked up because the way it's pronounced.
It's fucked up because we can't pronounce it.
Well, Staphylococcus is, that is a virus, right?
Yes.
So hydro would be like under the skin kind of thing? Hydrocephalus, right?
So hydrocephalus is a neurological disorder caused by an abnormal buildup of cerebrospinal fluid in the ventricles deep within the brain. So he had an abnormal buildup of the CSF fluid
that we've been talking about. So we had too much. So he didn't have the exhaust things that, Luke went in and shot a rocket into on the Death Star. No? Gonna keep going. Anyway, poor guy. That sucks. I mean, seriously, I wasn't trying to make fun of him at all.
No.
So they're basically saying that the boy who passed away from the hydrocephalus was not the healthy boy that Watson described.
Correct.
But rather a boy with cognitive impairment. If this is the case, Watson's findings become even more troubling and super divisive. Most recent data, however, points to a kid by the name of William Albert Barger as the true Albert.
Yeah.
So there is potentially
a little kid out there. Well, not a little kid anymore, but
a person who was completely fucked up by these researchers that just scared him into believing that everything white and fluffy was bad.
Yeah. Literally, from the day that this little kid was potentially born, he was scared jauntily with a white beard or a white puffy coat or whatever that was white and fluffy. Threw a rat at him or some shit.
That is messed up.
It's I tried diving into it, and I couldn't read any more of it because I was not only annoyed and pissed off by it, but I unfortunately kind of chuckled.
There's so many things I just think he couldn't enjoy. Marshmallows.
Yeah. A pillow.
Big Hero 6.
Oh, God.
Right? You know what I mean?
Fluffy, baby.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
La-la-la-la-la.
I love that movie so much.
So good.
Yeah, that sucks. That's super insane that they would do that to a kid.
But this also should open up your eyes into a lot of other experiments as well, too, because there's a lot of experiments that have been going on since the beginning of time to today where, unfortunately, there might be those one-off cases where someone was like, yeah, this is fucked up, I'm pulling my kid out or my person out or I'm out of this shit, and never was deconditioned from the experiment itself. Like anything.
Rough. Next one on the list here is, Seligman's look into learned helplessness.
This one's so...
This sounds bad.
I hated it.
Well, it starts off with dogs. So I'm super sorry for this, listeners. They were trained to anticipate an electrical shock after hearing a tone in tests by psychologists Martin Seligman and Stephen F. Mayer in the late 1960s. Unexpected findings were noted by Seligman and Meyer. Oh, boy, I know how you guys all love your dogs out there. So if you want to skip ahead, okay. Anyway, going forward, the dogs would swiftly jump over a low barrier when initially placed in a shuttle box with an electric side to avoid the shocks. Okay, of course they would. The dogs were then fastened into a harness where shocks could not be avoided. The dogs were put back in the shuttle box after being trained to anticipate a shock from which they couldn't flee. The dogs made no attempt to leap over the modest barrier to get out of the box. Instead, they just curled up and cried and whined. They made no attempt to alter their situation because they already knew there was no way to escape. This tendency was described by the researchers as learnt helplessness. Fuck.
If you know you can't fix the situation you're in, all you can do is sit there and cry.
Oh, man, I don't like that. Don't like it. Nope. Because the study's animals were mistreated, Seligman's work is seen as controversial. You think? Now, we don't like to get political here, and obviously we will not ever get political, ever.
So this article that I put in here has a few past and present presidents' names in here, only for the article in itself to
We are not basing any opinions on this at all. And if we have ever, and by the way, I want to say this real fast. I want to preface this. If we have ever done that in the past, I do want to personally apologize. We don't ever want to be that show that's like whatever. We don't want anyone to feel bad about, that we've got a certain outlook on things or whatever like that, unless it's like pedophiles and pieces of shit. And
We're
stuff
very
like that,
neutral when it comes to
Yes.
a lot of things.
So in saying that,
yes.
Okay.
But this article really intrigued me, and it shows a lot of how the brain's cognition kind of works. So I wanted to I wanted this to be in there. But unfortunately, there was some presidents' names that were introduced in here. So
and it's fine. We're not like on one side or the other. We're just, okay. So it turns out that there might actually be a link to the spread of misinformation and how our brains like and interpret all that information.
Correct.
Okay. All right, guys. So that was part 1 of The Brain.
The Brain.
And we will be bringing you part 2 next week right here. And you know where to listen. So tell everyone about it.
Yes. And as always, choo-choo, motherfucker.
Ah.
I had to do it.